Hey everyone, it's Eric Jensen again, ready to rant about who knows what, or not rant probably, but just mumble around incoherently about something. Anyways, so this last week was pretty disappointing. I woke up early, watched Manchester United lose, stayed up late, watched USC lose. Monday, watched the Göteborg lose again. So all my team, the LA Galaxy, didn't watch that game. They lost. I mean, basically, if I have a team that I liked, they lost. So yeah, not the greatest weekend of sports. We'll talk about the USC game. We'll jump right in there. USC looked again awful against Oregon State. They look soft is what they look like. It's on defense. When Oregon State is running all over you like 8-9 yards a pop, it's not a good thing. It's really not a good thing. The defense looked clueless. They looked like they didn't want to tackle. They were lucky that Oregon State didn't put up more points. Oregon State basically could score at will against USC. They got lucky and got a couple of stops on some interceptions. But, one of them, Oregon State was about to walk into the end zone anyways. It was a good defensive play, but, it was not pretty. Not pretty at all. We don't have to worry about about the interim head coach getting kept anymore. He's not winning a national championship. I kept on being optimistic. Oh, maybe they'll be good. They're not. They're not a good team. USC is not good. They're just not. And then on the offensive side of things, they scored some points, but it's just so bleh. I don't know if there's a better word to describe their offense. I don't know what is wrong with Keaton Slovis, but it seems like when he's in there, which has been every game except for the Washington State game when he got hurt, the ball just doesn't get pushed down the field. The only things that happen are little back shoulder throws to Drake London on the outside, which, we got benefited with pass interference calls a whole lot. But, there's just something not clicking when Keaton Slovis is in there. And I don't know. Had Jackson Dart been healthy, I would have put him in the second half. Now, I went in thinking Keaton should have had the start, but there's just something that isn't moving the offense the way it should. And so, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to fix it. I don't think we can really fix much of anything. This is still a Clay Helton team, and it will be a Clay Helton team all season long. Until we get a new head coach, an official new head coach to change the direction, it's not going to be pretty, I don't think. USC is super talented. Drake London is the best wide receiver in the Pac-12 and probably the country. And yet he drops balls. It's very frustrating, very frustrating. On the defensive side of things, we're getting pressure all the time and never getting any sacks. And at some point, I'm thinking, there's just something wrong. And I am apparently too football illiterate to know what it is, other than USC is soft and they're not tough. And number one thing with the head coach, you better be tough. You better get a head coach that makes a tough team and develops the talent that we get, because that's not happening. Anyways, enough of that. I don't know what else to say about that USC Oregon State game. It was just blah. And the season could be very well just that way the entire rest of the time. Who knows? Hopefully they get some improvements, but I'm not holding my breath anymore. Any other big stuff that happened? I mean, Oklahoma doesn't look good. Yeah, I don't know. Florida looks pretty good. I watched quite a bit of that Florida-Tennessee game. And even though they lost to Alabama, they look pretty good. I don't think we can take much from Georgia yet. They haven't played anyone because apparently Clemson is awful and can't do anything on offense. Clemson's defense is all right, but their offense is just, And, what else? So, I mean, I think those were the big storylines in college football this past week. And then Premier League, it's a mess all up top. I mean, Man City beat Chelsea, so it's all just a jumbled mess up there. I don't have a clear idea on who's gonna take a step forward and take the lead in things. So let's get to just a couple of topics. Targeting in college football. I don't think I've talked about this, and if I have, you get it twice as much, but I don't think I have. There is something really wrong with the targeting in college football, in that I don't think you should be kicking people out of games unless there's someone that is like total launch and spear into a defenseless guy on the ground. 15-yard penalty, yes. Getting kicked out of the game, no. That needs to stop. And maybe give them like they have the personal foul warnings. Maybe give them 2 chances and then kick them out if you really are trying to kick people out of the game for it. I don't think you should, unless it is like a complete and utter like diving into a quarterback on the ground with your helmet, crown of the helmet into his head. Then get him out of there. There's no room for that. But other than that, no. And then the other thing with targeting, what they need to implement is that if an offensive player lowers his head as he is getting hit, there should be no targeting. It is unfair for the defensive players to, they're trying to go down low, and then the offensive player ducks his head, and so they hit his head and then get ejected and get the penalty. No, I think if an offensive player lowers his head, which is a natural thing to do, but if they lower their head, targeting should be, that penalty should not happen. That's my 2 cents on that, though. I mean, I think it's good that we have targeting and to try and get that out of the game, but there has to be some common sense, and the defense has to be given some leeway. And if an offensive player catches the ball and then starts going down, a defensive player cannot react fast enough to not. If they're going for the tackle on the spot and then the offensive player's head is dropped down into him, there's nothing you can do. The other rule, this is the NFL rule, and I haven't heard much from this last weekend, but the taunting rule has been the big thing, and to me, I would not be calling all of those. Let them play, let them have fun. I mean, if you're way into a guy's face, then yeah. But I think some of the stuff is ridiculous. Let them get up, let them talk a little bit. When a line is crossed, and these lines haven't been crossed. So don't call taunting and whatnot in the NFL. I mean, just let the grown men play football and be excited and happy and angry and all the things. And when they cross a line, it's pretty obvious when you cross a line and when you don't. You know it when you see it. And just facing someone and flexing is, let them do it. Who cares? It's football. Let's see, what else have we got going on? We've got Champions League soccer. Messi finally scores for Paris Saint-Germain as they took down Man City 2-0. Liverpool looked good against Porto. Ajax, they looked pretty good in their game. I didn't catch all the other scores, but the big one is tomorrow. Manchester United via Real. We'll see. Manchester United just has been lacking recently, and I don't know. They've been lacking in the last third of the field, right when it counts, and so hopefully they get that fixed. I mean, the last Champions League they went down 10 men, so that's sort of understandable. One of the games was a cup game where they had just all their secondary players in, so that's understandable. So I mean, there's reasons behind it, but hopefully they can turn around, get some goals, get things moving, take some pressure off of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and get in the victory column in the Champions League. I think that's about all from last weekend. And moving forward, we'll preview what's coming up in college football and what's moving forward this next. And baseball season's almost up. I may touch on that. I may not, because the Angels are awful. And so I don't really care much, but we'll see. Anyways, have a good, and we'll talk to you later.